and welcome to day 36 of our Ramayana Satsanga. Lakshminatha Samarambham Nathayamuna Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam Yo Nityamachyuta Padambuja Yukma Rukma Vyamohatastaditarani Trinayamene Asmad Gurur Bhagavatosya Dayaika Sindho Ramanujasya Charanam Sharanam Prapadye आपदामपहर्तारं दातारं सर्वसम्पदां लोकाभिरामं श्रीरामं भूयो भूयो नमाम्यहम् यत्र यत्र रघुनाथकीर्तनं तत्र तत्र कृतमस्तकाञ्जलिं बाष्पवारी परिपूर्णलोचनं मारुतिं नमत राक्षसान्तकं कूजन्तं राम रामेति मधुरं मधुराक्षरम् आरुह्य कविताशाखां वन्दे वाल्मीकिकोकिलम् वेदवेद्ये परे पुंसि जाते दशरथात्मजे वेदप्राचेत सादासीत् साक्षात् रामायणात्मना. With prayers at the lotus feet of Acharya and Sri Rama, let us take our topic for today. So we saw in yesterday's satsang how Sugriva divided all the Vanaras and all other people, all their allies together into different groups and sent them in different directions. Now Sugriva gives very detailed instructions of how to go to which area and all that. So Rama is actually surprised that, and he says, how come Sugriva, you know all these places so well? So then Sugriva says that actually when I was running away from Vali, because Vali was chasing me everywhere, I was running from him to save myself, and that's how I traveled all over these places and I know all these places in and out. So as we said, in the search party which is going towards the south, in the southern direction, Hanuman, Angada, Jambavan, these are the main Vanaras. There are many others also with them. Now, at the time when they are about to leave, Rama gives the ring he is wearing in his finger to Hanuman. Dadau tasya tata preetah swanamankam swanamanka upashobhitam anguliyam abhignanam rajaputryaha parantapaha. So that one who was the destroyer of enemies, Rama, he happily gave his ring, which is shining with his own name engraved on it, as a sign to Hanuman, as something to show Princess Sita. Now, if somebody suddenly comes in front of Sita and says, I have come from Rama, how is she to believe that person? Because she is in the Rakshasa Loka, where everything is Mayavi. So she needs something concrete to be able to recognize that this person has actually come as a Ramaduta. So that is the reason why Rama gives his ring, the ring which is having his name engraved on it. He gives that to Hanuman. Now, Hanuman, out of lot of respect, it is Rama's ring. So with that devotion, he can't wear it on his finger. He can't tuck it somewhere into his clothes. And therefore, what he does is he places the ring on his head and he flies off with that respect. Now, in Kamba Ramayana, there is an interesting anecdote which is narrated about this part of the episode. So actually, Kamba Ramayana says that when everybody is being divided into groups and very enthusiastically everyone is, getting ready for the search, Hanuman is sitting quietly in one corner. He seems to be disinterested in all this. Now, Rama sees that and he understands that what is this Hanuman's bhava, why he is sitting like this, why he is not bothered about all this. Now, Hanuman himself is a Naishtika Brahmachari. He is someone who is a lifelong celibate and he is totally away from all these feelings of affection and love and other things, right? So he cannot understand why this Rama is crying over a wife. Okay, she got lost, fine, so what? Let it be, let him get on with his life. Why should he be crying over her so much? And now all this hangama for the sake of recovering that wife, what is the importance of that, he thinks. And that's why he's like really not interested in these proceedings. So seeing that attitude of Hanuman, Rama has decided that if at all anybody sees Sita and understands what she means to me, it has to be this Hanuman only. And he decides, he wills, he makes a sankalpa that it should be Hanuman who sees Sita, and therefore he gives his ring to Hanuman. Now, Rama had only one ring. He could have given it to any of the search parties going in any directions, isn't it? But why did he choose Hanuman and give it to him? Because he made a sankalpa that it should be this Hanuman who sees Sita, who finds her, and then he will understand why I am like this, moping about and feeling so much sad at being separated from her. So that is something extra which is told in Kamba Ramayana. So now all the search parties set out. They go. Sugriva has given them the time of around 1 month or so. And in that time, all the other people return back. Only this Hanuman's group, which went in the southern direction, has not yet returned. 4 months pass, and yet they are not here. So, what is it that happened to them? When they set out in the southern direction, they were moving towards the south, and there at one point they entered into a mountain cave, and that was like a Mayavi cave. It was filled with all comforts, with all magical things, a very beautiful place. And they searched here and there, but they were not able to come out of that cave. And then they came upon this lady called Swayam Prabha, who was there. She's a tapasvi. She says, this is actually a cave which belongs to my friend who is an Apsara, and I'm taking care of it for her. And anybody who falls into this cave, they can never get out actually. But then Hanuman and Jambavan and all of them, they tell her who they are. They tell how they have come on behalf of Lord Rama. And they beg her that please, our mission has to be completed. So you please teach us a way, show us a way to get out of this. So much time has been wasted in, trying to find the way on their own. Finally, this Swayam Prabha agrees, and by the power of her tapas, she something which is impossible. Anyone who enters that cave cannot exit out. But by her tapas, she makes sure that they are transported out of that cave, and they find themselves on the ocean shore at a place called Mahendragiri. Even today, this place can be seen. In fact, it is very close by to one of our Divya Deshams, which is called as Tirukurungudi. And that is this Mahendragiri mountain is near the area called Nagarkoil in Tamil Nadu, which is very close to the southernmost tip of our country. So there they find themselves. Now, once they reach there, they understood that so much time has passed. We have not been able to locate Sita. We have done whatever we can. But if we go back like this now, Sugriva is definitely going to kill us because we have delayed so long and we have also not found Sita. So what shall we do? And in that depression, they are very sad at their failure. They think that, okay, we'll give up our life. There's no point in, going back like this with this news that we have not found Sita. So instead, let us give up our life here itself. They think like that. And so they sit there, determined that they are not going to eat anything. They will not be consuming any food, and that they will fast until they die. So they sit there. Then they say, okay, we are anyway sitting like this. And to pass the time, they start talking about Rama and his story. And when they are talking, they say at least that Jatayu, he was able to give up his life for Rama's sake. But look at us. We couldn't do anything for Rama, and we are forced to give up our life without having achieved anything. And they talk like that. The minute they say the word Jatayu, one old eagle who was sitting nearby comes close to them. Now, that eagle had been watching what these Vanaras are doing. That eagle had no wings at all, and because of that he couldn't fly. He was just able to hop around, and because of that it was very difficult for him to hunt for food. Now he had been very happy that, oh, all these Vanaras are sitting here, and he heard them talking that we will fast unto death. So he thought, okay, good, now if all these people fast and they die, I'm assured of supply of food for the next so many months because so many Vanaras are here. And he was happy for that. But as he was, so he came close by and he was hidden and he was listening to what they're talking. The minute they said the word Jatayu, he got shocked and he went close to them and he said, what is this you are talking about, Jatayu? Why? How did Jatayu die? What happened to him? Then they tell him that how Ravana came and he kidnapped Sita and Jatayu fought him. And then this eagle reveals that I am Sampati. I am the elder brother of Jatayu. You remember we said that when Jatayu had introduced himself, he had told that he is the younger brother of Sampati. Now, what happened to this Sampati? Why did he not have any wings? When they were young, both Sampati and Jatayu had flown towards the sun, but they got too close to the sun and then the heat of the sun became unbearable. So, to protect that Jatayu, who is the younger brother, this Sampati had spread out his wings and his wings got burnt with the heat of the fire, but Jatayu was protected. And that Sampati, losing his wings, had fallen to this point on the seashore near Mahendragiri. So he tells them that, oh, you say that Jatayu died in Seva for Lord, for Rama. I also want to do something. I am not so fortunate like him to give up my life, but let me see how I can help you. Now, it is told that eagles have very strong and sharp vision, which can see for a long distance. So he focused. He was old, and yet he focused his eyes and he looked in the direction of Lanka, and very vaguely, very in a blurred way, he could make out. He said, yes, I see Sita is there somewhere in Lanka. I'm not able to tell you the exact position where she is, but definitely she is on the island of Lanka. She is there, he tells. So now these Vanaras are all enthused. So they are very happy. And the minute Sampati told this and helped them out like this, it is said that new wings started growing on him. Slowly, new wings came to him because he also did seva for Rama. Now these Vanaras start discussing. And Jambavan is the eldermost person. He is not a Vanara, he is a bear, but he has been there from many yugas altogether. So Jambavan starts asking everybody that, can you go? Can you jump across the ocean? Now that ocean is 100 yojanas wide. So it is a very difficult task. Now some Vanaras say, I can jump 10 yojanas. Some say, I can jump 50 yojanas. Then Angada says, I can fly across the 100 yojanas, but once I reach there, I will not have the strength to come back. Like this, everybody is talking, and everyone is expressing their inability that I can't do this. Only Hanuman is sitting quietly in a corner. Now, Jambavan goes to calls Hanuman and he says, see, he can't do, he can't go. You are our only source. So Hanuman says, how will I be able to do? So then Jambavan reminds Hanuman of actually what is his power. And with that memory coming back to him, Hanuman assumes a very big, huge, gigantic form. He climbs to the top of Mahendragiri. He bows to his father, who is Vayu Bhagavan, and he bows mentally to Sri Rama. He loudly chants and shouts Jai Shri Ram, and he jumps across the ocean. So till here is whatever was Kishkinda Kanda. Now the minute Anjaneya, Hanumanta climbs to the mountain and he jumps, from then onwards, that part starting from Hanuman's journey is the Sundara Kanda, which is the most beautiful Kanda of the Ramayana. We will take that up tomorrow. For today, whatever we have talked about, what are some of the things in it for us to learn? Now, we said that Rama gave a ring to Hanuman. Now, how did Rama have the ring with him? Because if you remember, when they came to Vanavas, Rama gave up all the clothing, all the luxury, all the ornaments, everything. Now, how is it that he had a ring with him? So, our acharyas explain here that there are probably some 2-3 reasons why it could be. Perhaps it was Rama's ring which he himself brought with him, anticipating that, something like this is going to happen. Because we know all this is happening by his own sankalpa. So, maybe Rama simply brought one ring along with him, thinking that it will be needed for such an event which will come in the future. That could be one possibility. Or it could be that that ring had been gifted by Janaka to Rama during his wedding. So, since it is something gifted by the father-in-law, he had to wear it at all times, and it was not necessary for him to remove that when he came to Vanavasa, so he didn't leave it, he brought it with him. Or the third option, the acharyas say, is that in those times it was a practice for the women to wear a ring with their husband's names engraved on it. So maybe it was actually Sita's ring which she was wearing, and therefore it had the name Rama on it. And perhaps Rama had just taken it from her for some days, saying that I will wear your ring for some time. And it was at that time when he was wearing the ring that Sita Parana had happened. So at that time, Sita went away, Sita was carried away, but Sita's ring was with Rama. And that is how he has the ring to give it to Hanuman. So whatever be the case, Rama's ring was there and he gave it to Hanuman. Now, another thing of importance here is the acharyas point out that how the story of Ramayana, the story of Rama and Sita is life preserving. It is life sustaining. Here we saw how these Vanaras, they felt so hopeless and helpless and they wanted to give up their life. But when they are sitting there fasting unto death, they start telling Ramakatha. They start narrating what is actually Ramayana. The minute they start doing that, Sampati comes to help. And because of that, they have a purpose now. They have the goal. They are ready to do what it takes. And that's why they don't die. They don't give up their life. So this was the first instance where we can see how Ramakatha is life-sustaining. Second, later we will see, once Hanuman goes to Lanka, at that point of time in the Ashokavana, Sita is desperate because Ravana has come and threatened her again. And all the Rakshasis are troubling her so much. And in that moment of desperation, she says, what is the point of me continuing to live? And she wants to give up her life. At that time, Hanuman has reached there and he narrates Ramakatha to her without showing his own face, By being hidden in the tree, he narrates Ramakatha. And the minute she hears that, she suddenly is filled with hope and she decides against giving up her life. The third instance is much later when everything is over, Ravana Samhara has happened, and they are going back. Bharata has been waiting desperately, and the day the 14th year gets over, Rama has not yet arrived. So Bharata thinks that I will give up my life because I had told Rama that if you don't come on that exact day, I will jump into the fire and give up my life. So just as Bharata is about to do that, Rama has sent Hanuman, and Hanuman has come there and he is scared about what Bharata will do if directly he approaches and tells. So he again sits somewhere far away and starts narrating Ramakatha. And hearing that, Bharata gets the hope that yes, Rama is on the way back. So, like this, in every instance that we see, Ramayana, Ramakatha is life sustaining. It is something which protects people. So, we are so fortunate that we are getting to listen to this Rama story. So, let us not think of this as just a story, but let us see what all life giving advice is there for us, what all is there to make us thrive in our spiritual journey, right? So we are fortunate that acharyas have done so many commentaries. It is told that Swami Ramanujacharya, he heard this explanation of the Ramayana 18 times from his guru. So such is the importance of the Ramayana. Even somebody as Jnani as Ramanujacharya kept on listening to it time and again because it is the source for all spiritual energy. Okay. Now we saw that Hanuman did not say that he will jump because he did not know his own power. Why is it that had happened? Jambavan knew Hanuman was capable, and yet Jambavan didn't directly tell Hanuman first itself that Hanuman, you jump. He waited for all these Vanaras one by one to say, I can't do, I can't do, I can't do. So now it is as if Hanuman is being propped up, Hanuman is being motivated that see, nobody else can do it. You are the only one who can do it. So he's the only alternative for us. That is what Jambavan wants to convey to Hanuman. Now, why was Hanuman not aware of his own capability? Why it is that Jambavan had to tell Hanuman that you are capable and remind him of his power? There is a story for this. So when we saw last time in some other previous satsang, how Hanuman as a child, he jumped up to catch hold of the sun, thinking it is an apple. And then Indra hit him with the Vajra and he fell down. Then Vayu was angry. To pacify Vayu, all the Devatas came and gave lots of powers to Hanuman. So one of the powers that Hanuman got was that he would be having infinite power to fly and jump everywhere. So what happened is once he got all these powers, that baby Hanuman, that child Hanuman was very naughty and he would keep doing things to disturb other people. Like he would do things, naughty things. And one time he went too far. He did something which disturbed the tapas of some sages. Now that sage cursed him and said that you will not have any power. The minute that Shapa was given to Hanuman, he forgot everything. But he didn't have any of that power. Then Anjana, his mother, and Hanuman, both of them fell at the feet of that Rishi and begged him for forgiveness. So, and said, please don't do like this. It is not correct to punish us with such a grave punishment for this. And they begged him for forgiveness. So then he took compassion on them and that Rishi modified the curse. He said, okay, your powers will be intact, but your knowledge of your power will be wiped off. So you will have the power, but you will not be aware that you have that power. And at the right time, somebody will remind you of it. And at that time, when you are reminded of the power, you will get back all that power. You will be capable of doing everything that has been granted to you by these devatas. So that is why Hanuman was not aware. He had all the power even before, but he was not aware of it himself. Now, from this, we can understand how many times when we have a lot of power, there is a tendency to misuse it, right? So if we don't use our power in the right way, then it can become a problem for other people. So Hanuman's memory or his awareness of his power was taken away as a punishment. Now, at the opportune moment, Jambavan is there. Jambavan knows all this background. So he reminds Hanuman. He says, see, like this, you have the power. Not only these 100 yojanas, you can fly anywhere and anyhow for how much ever distance. So you are the only person who can take this step and you can find Sita in Lanka. So this action of Jambavan in reminding Hanuman of whatever power is within him. So that is very important. Even if we apply it to our daily lives, we can see that many times we see youngsters around us, we see people around us who have the potential to achieve great things, but they are not confident of themselves. They don't know what potential they have. So if there is a mentor like this, like Jambavan, who can guide youngsters, right, then he can motivate them to achieve whatever it is that their innate potential is. So here Jambavan has played this important role, and now Hanuman is at the top of Mahendragiri. He is set to take off from there, and with that we will enter into Sundarakanda. That we will see tomorrow. So for today, let us stop here. Let us express gratitude to the lotus feet of Acharya and Sri Rama for giving us this opportunity to learn of all these wonderful things, and let us pray that their blessings and grace will always be on us. मङ्गलं कोसलेन्द्राय महनीयगुणाब्धये चक्रवर्तीतनूजाय सार्वभौमाय मङ्गलं वेदवेदान्तवेद्याय मेघश्यामलमूर्तये पुंसां मोहनरूपाय पुण्यश्लोकाय मङ्गलं पितृभक्ताय सततं भ्रातृभिः सह सीतया नन्दिताखिललोकाय रामभद्राय मङ्गलं श्रीमते रघुवीराय सेतूलङ्घितसिन्धवे जितराक्षसराजाय रणधीराय मङ्गलं मङ्गलाशासनपरैर्मदाचार्यपुरोगमैः सर्वैश्च पूर्वैराचार्यैः सत्कृतायास्तु मङ्गलम्. Thank you, everybody. We'll meet again tomorrow and see what happens next. Namaskar.